A federal investigation into former New York Sheriff Anthony Miranda has taken an unexpected turn, uncovering a potential link between the former law enforcement chief and one of the world's largest tobacco companies. On Thursday, U.S. prosecutors stamped a series of subpoenas that reached deep into digital communications and corporate records, targeting not only Miranda himself but also his wife, Sylvia, and their 2 adult sons. The documents asked for everything from emails to financial statements, all tied to the British-American tobacco conglomerate and its subsidiary Reynolds American, commonly referred to as RAI, as well as the more familiar R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company. The subpoenas also opened up a broader window onto tobacco policy. They sought records involving proposed regulations, legislation, menthol cigarettes, e-cigarettes, tobacco taxes, cannabis, and vaping products. In short, prosecutors are looking to see whether the former sheriff's interactions with the tobacco giant could have crossed into the realms of federal program fraud, bribery, wire fraud, money laundering, witness tampering, or even interstate travel in aid of racketeering, 4 of the dozen possible crimes now on the docket. To gather the evidence, the FBI and the City Department of Investigation conducted a raid on the Queens home where Miranda has lived for years, seizing his electronic devices in the process. A week earlier, authorities also brought a search into Puerto Rico, although the specifics of that operation remain wrapped in confidentiality. Why this investigation? The public record doesn't offer a clear answer, and prosecutors have shared none of the exact theories behind their suspicion. British American Tobacco, a company that rings in more than $34 billion in global revenue in 2025, agrees to sell Camel, Newport, Vuse vapes, and Velo tobacco pouches under its umbrella. Whether any of that revenue had seeped into City Hall, or whether Miranda leveraged his position in exchange for favors, is still an open question. Miranda has neither issued a statement nor answered calls for comment. Neither has a spokesperson for the tobacco companies nor representatives from the Department of Investigation, the FBI, or the IRS offered any statements. Their silence only adds to the mystery, but it's clear that law enforcement resources have been poured into pursuing what prosecutors believe could be a serious federal offense. The subpoenas IPLE were issued by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, a jurisdiction that houses high-profile federal cases. Prosecutors indicated that they were collaborating with the FBI, the IRS, and the City Department of Investigation, an alliance that underscores both the gravity of the allegations and the potential reach across local, national, and corporate borders. What is concrete at this point is that the inquiry could potentially lead to charges of anything from fraud to money laundering against Miranda, his family, or others linked to the case. The search of his digital devices and the request for extensive corporate records hint at a thorough examination of his financial and communication footprints. Whether the evidence ultimately supports criminal claims remains to be seen, but the trail is now open. In a world where close ties between public officials and private corporations often raise eyebrows, this investigation is a reminder that federal authorities are willing to investigate the connections between city leadership and industry giants. While the full scope of the inquiry is still unfolding, it has already captured the attention of media, regulators, and the public alike. That's the story as it stands today. A former N.Y.C. sheriff who was appointed by a mayor he knew well, caught up in a federal probe that spans digital data, corporate records, and possible federal offenses. We'll keep you posted as more details emerge. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for the next update.